Hello, this is Grant Hughes again of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, but really make sure to hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. And I know this sounds crazy, but if you guys would watch the entire video, I'd really appreciate it. I noticed that in the comments section, often people ask questions that are actually answered in the video itself. Today's video is regarding the Doordash driver, and this will be the last video that I make on it. These are my final thoughts on where I think the Doordash driver saw Brian Kohberger, and it's based on the evidence that we've seen so far, released in documents, the timeline, etc. Right? But what we'll do first is we'll listen to the interrogation twice. I'll skip over this long pause here, and we'll just listen to, well, the first time I'll let the pause play, and then the second time I'll skip it, but we'll just listen to what is said, and I think we have it dialed in perfectly. Here we go. And by the way, the wording that we came up with is what the news channels are now putting out there. It's different than what the first YouTubers who covered it put out there. They've tried to add a little extra pizzazz to it and sort of insinuate that she saw Brian doing certain things, etc. So let's play it. Here we go.
And now I have to testify. Big murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a Doordash driver, so yeah.
You have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girl.
Oh.
My Doordash driver, I saw Brian there. Right next to him. Car accidents, rapes, abuse.
Okay.
So that whisper at the end, by me, that was one of our freak family members guessed it was, and that sort of sounds right. We can't tell for certain that that's absolutely what was said, but it matches what was said previously in these statements. So let's just play it one more time, and then I'll skip that long pause.
And now I have to testify.
Now I have to testify.
Big murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a Doordash driver, so yeah.
You have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girl.
Oh.
My Doordash driver, I saw Brian there. Right next to him.
All right, parked right next to him, and then
Car accidents, rapes, abuse.
so it sounds like it says the car is in the street and he's by me. Now I think one of the key phrases in here, so we'll just go through it again. And now I have to testify. Big murder case, so yeah, because I'm the Doordash driver, so yeah. And then she answers that it's the murder case with the college girls, and I actually think this is the Doordash driver, 100%. You know, there's people out there who still don't think it is, but I absolutely think it is at this point. I'm the Doordash driver. I saw Brian near the house. And then this is the key phrase right here. Parked right next to him. So when somebody says parked right next to him, that means that you're talking about you parking next to them. That means they were already stationary when you parked right next to him. Had she been parked and Kohberger drove up to park next to her, she would have said, he parked right next to me, right? That's how just human nature is. That's how we talk. So she parked next to him while he was stopped. So let's take a look at the map here. And we got to look at the timeline. And in green here is the time frame where I think the Doordash driver, there's two options. There's one down here at 4:07:47 when the vehicle comes around and then parks before going inside the house. The driver of the vehicle, which is Brian Kohberger, goes inside the house and kills all 4 victims. I don't think this is very likely, so I'm really focused in on this spot right here At 3:57:27, headlights briefly shine on the upper exterior of 1127. I mean, we can go back to right here at 3:56:24. A vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 is seen southbound on King Road, east of Queen Road. And then at 3:56:55, it travels behind 500 Queen Road. And then we see the headlights briefly shine on 1127. And that's at 3:57:27. And at 3:58:23, it's leaving the area, just passing 1, or let's just call it 1112 King Road, the house that has the camera on it. So if you look at that, that means for 56 seconds, right after it turned behind 500 Queen Road, it took 56 seconds for it to then leave. So that means the vehicle parked for 35 seconds or so. So let's show that on the map. At 3:56:24, I'm going to start off with the customized little sphere in here. This is the white Elantra. It drives like this at 3:56:24. Then at 3:56:55, it comes around right here. And then at 3:57:27, the vehicle's right over here with headlights hitting the top of this building. And that means probably within 15 seconds or so it parks. And I believe the vehicle drove around and parked right here. Okay, now let's take a look at another image. If we scroll forward, I have a little clip here. This is what it looked like precisely when the Doordash driver showed up. This cop car wasn't there, and maybe this car wasn't there, but these 4 cars were there. The Jeep and these 3 other vehicles. So when the Doordash driver came in, it may have parked where this black car is. I think she pulled in and came in about right there. And I think Kohberger's car is right here next to these leaves on the side of the screen, like right here. And she pulls in right there to deliver the Doordash. All right, so let's take a look at the top again. So let's say Kohberger, it's 15 seconds after the 3:57:27 when the vehicle parks. So that would be 3:57:42. All right. And then at 3:58:23, it's driving away. So that means it parked there for probably 18, 28, 35 seconds or so. It parked, stopped, and I think that's the time frame that the Doordash driver was there. So let's look at it like this. The Doordash driver said she parked next to him. So at 3:57:42, Kohberger parks. Let's say at 3:57:50, she pulls into the area. So here we go. Let's go over here. Kohberger's parked right there. And here is the Doordash driver. Let's move this piece. So they drive in, come around, and then at 3:57:50, parks right there. And she parked next to him. There he is. And the reason that she noticed him was because there's still movement or lights on in this car. One thing I do wonder about, though, is if you remember on the Dateline episode, they didn't show when the Doordash driver came in. They also didn't show when the Elantra returned back to the area at 4:05:56. All right, the vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 is seen southbound on King Road. It pulls in to the complex, I call it, but they didn't show it. So I do wonder if it's at that time, at 4:04:56-ish, that the Doordash driver passed it. All right, so it could be something like this. The Doordash driver is sitting right here. Kohberger had left and came back. So remember when he drove by at 3:58:23? Let's see, 3:58, yeah, 23 seconds. He drove by the 1112 King Road. So he drove by right here at 3:58:23, and then he drove out, and then he drove around like this, and he's watching that Doordash vehicle. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know it's a Doordash delivery. And then he drives around like this and does a U-turn because it's concerning to him. And then he comes back up here, and he looks over there, and that time, and this is what I think he's looking over there. I can't tell you for certain that he's looking over there, but at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds, he's right there. Now, if you trust the key fob sounds, you know, after Kohberger leaves, she sits in her car for a moment, and there's people out there that say that at 3:59 she may have clicked the delivery button and then waited a moment. It gets the camera ready, etc. Then she got out of her vehicle, hit the key fob, delivers the meal, and that's at 3:59:51, which is right here. And then she makes it back near her car by 4 o'clock and 27 seconds. But maybe she then, after she got back to her car, sat in her car for a few minutes. You know, Kohberger's vehicle had already left. She sits in her car for a few minutes. And then as she drives out, so let's now put it like this. This is the Doordash driver. Right around 4:04 and 56 seconds, the white Elantra is entering the area, and it's southbound on King Road, which means it's coming in right here. So what I think is possible, and the reason we didn't see that in the special, the only video we didn't see was the Doordash driver and the Elantra coming back in at 4:04:56, and I think they didn't show that footage. It's possible that it combined the Doordash driver and Kohberger. So then we might think that she saw him twice. So Kohberger comes back in like this, and then maybe right around in this area, the Doordash driver passes and exits. And then what backs that up a bit is that the white Elantra, Brian Kohberger, after passing the Doordash driver, is just suspicious still, wants to see what's going on. So then does a 3-point turn over here, comes back around, so the car comes in, backs up, goes like this, checks the house out. The Doordash driver is gone now. Does another 3-point turn here, drives by, monitors, maybe sees there's a light on in Xana's room, but he knows that the person he chose, Madison Mogan, that her light is off, so it's go time. So now he goes around the house, comes around like this, and then parks. Now, did he park back here or up here? You know, and if he did park up there, then it's possible, but not as likely, that the Doordash driver, if she was still just lingering around, was right here and saw the Elantra pull up. But see, in that case, it would be he parked right next to me, right? If she didn't see him on the first time around. So I think what I've come up with is, I think that it is very, very likely that the Doordash driver spotted Kohberger between 3:57:27 and 3:58:23, and then the white Elantra drove away at that point. So it was really, the Elantra probably drove away at 3:58:17 or so, and the Doordash driver probably got there at 3:57:50. So that means for 27 seconds they were parked right next to each other. And perhaps he freaked her out, and she just kind of sat in her car. She was wondering, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? And then after he drove away, that's when she felt comfortable enough to get out of her car and deliver the meal. So he drove away, and at 3:59:04, the headlights of the Elantra are over here. So let's show you. They're seen driving right back through here and spotted right there by this surveillance camera that is on this building right here, spotted right through there. And then at 3:59:04, Kohberger's vehicle's right here, and just 4 seconds earlier, according to the documents, the Doordash driver hit that they delivered the meal on their app. All right, so at 3:59 flat. And then that's when Kohberger drives around, turns around, and comes back, but does not enter into the area. In fact, what Kohberger's vehicle did was this. After it turns around, the Doordash driver made him want to go check. He drives around, sees it's still there, so doesn't want to drive in to be spotted. So then comes all the way around like this, down, and then passes the Ridge Road building right here. I think it's 1127 if I remember correctly. And there's 2 cameras on that building. Then the vehicle came around, and that's the shot that picked up the no front license plate. Comes around like this and eventually makes their way back in at 4:04:56, and maybe that's when the Doordash driver was leaving, drove by Kohberger's vehicle, and that's why it didn't make its way into the Dateline special. There was some other element that looks sort of interesting in this same video right here. Right at the end, you can see how a vehicle could spot. Look up above this building right over here. It's just really quick right at the end. See that vehicle driving right there? Here, I'll show you. Right there. I'm not pointing it out as it being the Elantra. I'm showing you how easy it is to see through the trees all the way down here. There's another vehicle right here coming down. Let's see that? So it's really wide open. You can easily see. So when he was trying to monitor driving up there, he could see that there was a vehicle parked here still while driving up there. And I've shown that also on my 360-degree camera. So if we just go back a little bit here on this video, we can see almost the same angle. I think it's probably about like right there. Maybe a little bit further. Let's see. So that shot was taken from basically right here. All right. So that means if there was a vehicle driving back here, that's the road, you would be able to see it. All right. And then when we go back up there, I'm actually walking the streets with my 360-degree camera. The shot that you're looking at is almost this exact one right here, when the vehicle's driving right through there. See, there's the 1112 is right there, and there's the parking area. I think that's actually the security vehicle in front of the 1122 King Road property where the homicides took place. All right. So anyways, I just thought that was interesting stuff there at the end. And I believe that the Doordash driver spotted Brian Kohberger between 3:57:27 and 3:58:23 when he was parked and she parked next to him. All right. The other time frame doesn't match what she said. At 4:07:47, she would already be parked in the parking area, right? So when he pulled up next to her, she would have said, he parked right next to me. She didn't say that. So you can throw out this one, and it has to be between 3:57:27 and 3:58:23, because that's the only time that Kohberger could have been parked when she showed up and parked her vehicle. All right, so I hope you guys found the video interesting. You guys should make sure to watch. I'll post the videos to the other 2 that I made on this. So I want to say thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you got something out of it. Using the facts and logic of the information that we have, I absolutely believe that that is the time frame that the Doordash driver saw Brian Kohberger in his white Elantra. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Share the video and subscribe. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.